Everyone wants to get rich, but it seems like only a few will get there. There are endless videos on YouTube that show you how to get rich, endless courses and programs that sell you the dream of getting rich. But again, it seems like only a club a few will join. So how do we join this club? And why do we even want to join this club? Well, that's the point of this video. Other than being an invitation to get rich with me, it will also be a video that shares with you my exact plan with each step. Now, like you, I have watched all of the get rich videos. I've studied all of the systems, habits, and methods, and I'm ready to take action. Now, one thing to note, I have several failed ventures with one moderately successful venture, so some of these steps will be coming from my own experiences. Also, at the end of this video, I'll be giving you a full Notion build out that has everything you need to get started in starting a business and following me on this journey. It's pretty much a system in the box. It has everything that you need to make sure you start off on the right foot. But before we get to that, I wanted to start with the why. Why do we want to join the club? And why do we want to get rich? Now, this is a very important question that you should already have the answer to, or you should at least start to think about it really deeply about why you actually want to get rich. Also, I would like to pivot away from the word rich because to me, money is just a tool to have impact in the world. It's a tool to do cool things that make this world a better place to live. So really, I just want to make the world a better place by building cool things, and I need money to do that. Now, that's my why, and if your why isn't similar to that, then this journey and this channel may not be for you. Seriously. If you just want to buy fancy cars and watches to flex on Instagram, you really should leave. So please leave. Okay, since you're still here, I'm assuming that you're a down-to-earth person who really just loves building cool things. You've probably cared more about what you were doing and who you were doing it with, rather than the potential gain you would get. I've been this way my entire life, and I'm going to be honest, it has kept me from certain opportunities, specifically sometimes not being in the best position with capital so that I could fund the cool things that I'd like to build. But that's the past, because after years of getting punched in the face, in other words, character development, we all go through this character development phase. I now know how to make sure I get paid, get the money, while also not sacrificing the integrity of the thing that I'm building. And this is part of what I'm hoping to share with you in these videos and on this channel. But let's get to the cool stuff. Let's talk about how we're going to be getting that money. There are really only two paths to building significant wealth. The first one is you're born into it. You're born into a wealthy family. And then the second one is you built an engine that generates money or cash flow. In other words, building a business. Now, there is a third path, and that is called climbing the corporate ladder, but that is not a path that I'm interested in. I'm not here to convince you that climbing the corporate ladder doesn't work. I'm sure it works for some, but it's just the one that I am not interested in, so I will not be talking about that path here in this channel. Maybe in a future video, I'll talk about why it's not the best path, but for now, we're just not choosing it. So in this video and on this channel, we'll be working with the underlying idea that we're building a business. So that's the path. And this is the only path that I believe gives you full ownership over your life. But one big misunderstanding that people have about entrepreneurship and building a business is the end goal. Now, if you think being CEO is cool, it's the end goal, then I'm afraid you've been extremely misled. See, the entrepreneur business owner has been turned into this extreme caricature of 20-year-olds renting supercars and luxury Airbnbs just to sell their online courses. And then also in their Instagram bio, it says CEO. The truth is, being CEO sucks. Especially when you're bootstrapping a business. That means you're starting with $0. When you're the one who has to figure out what is going to sell, who's going to buy it, and then building out the systems that make it run efficiently, and then growing those systems, it becomes pretty painful. It's probably one of the worst jobs to have at the beginning of a business. When you're the CEO of a small business, you essentially have a full-time job that has no benefits, and for a long time, you're getting paid less than minimum wage. It's not fun. So if you were to take time to look into where the true wealth is, what are the best positions to be in this life, you'll find that some of the best positions to be in are where you're on the board of a company that is already built, that is running like a nicely refined engine, and it is already generating cash flow. Now, if you go and look at some of the big companies in the tech industry like Uber, Facebook, Apple, or even Shell, or even some of the smaller companies, you'll find that a lot of the executive members, a lot of the people who are on the boards are intermingling among each other's companies. You have one CFO that is vice president of another company, or they're an advisor on the board for another company, and they're all just intermingling. Now, I've kind of already explained why that's the ideal position, but just to drive it home a little bit further, it's simply building a business, you're really just doing one thing. You're building an engine, a set of systems where human beings make those systems run. And once they're built, they just keep going. Now, you do have to have somebody to look over them and to fine tune them and everything. But like anything, the hardest part is building it from scratch. Once you've already proven that you could build a business from scratch, you have the expertise, you show that you could run the business, you really put yourself in a position where you can now be a consultant or a mentor to other business owners, and then you become a really valuable person for other businesses that need somebody who has the expertise to come in and help strategize ideas. And that's really what these people on the boards are doing. They're just developing high-level strategies for the workers to execute and bring into fruition. And that leads into how do we get there? How do we get into these positions? Now, I already mentioned how there's nepotism and there's people who are born into wealth. And sure, there are some of these people who were born into these families that had these connections. It was guaranteed that they were going to be a C-suite executive. It was guaranteed that they were going to be on the board. So we're not going to look at that case, obviously. But there are plenty of other examples of people who weren't born into it and found their way into board positions where they were pretty much in one of the best positions that any human can be in this life. Like I said, you could look at some of the biggest corporations, some of the biggest tech companies, but you could also see this happening at a lot smaller level where it's still a relatively good position to be in, where you're on the boards of companies that are kind of mid-level. They're big, but they're not like big Fortune 300 or 500 companies and everything. There's a lot of examples here on YouTube. A lot of these entrepreneurs like Alex Hormozi, Cody Sanchez, or even the guys from the My First Million podcast. But the point is that there are plenty of entrepreneurs that aren't like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg that are still in these positions. They're still using their audience and any leverage that they have to strike these deals with these other companies to get equity and to also provide their expertise to help these companies grow and develop strategies. So you don't have to be this big multi-billion-dollar famous CEO to get into this position, but you do have to build something. You have to build leverage, and that's the point where you and I are at right now. We are building leverage to get these opportunities, to first show that we have some sort of expertise, but then also to get into rooms with the right people so that we can build networks and relationships so that these opportunities can come to us. Two of the things I'm going to be talking about specifically in this video is the leverage of building an audience on social media. That's very valuable, but then also the leverage of building expertise by building a business, and then also having that business as an asset, which is also leverage. Now, there have been several case studies of content creators using their audience as leverage to strike deals with other companies, partner up with them to get equity. Sometimes they do affiliate deals and stuff like that, or they just get paid up front to shout out their product on their YouTube videos. But sometimes some of the more savvy content creators strike deals with these companies to own equity in the company. Just like anything, there's a good way to go about this, and then there's a really horrible way to go about this. The really horrible way to go about this is just partnering up with any company that's willing to pay you, and that's it. So you just are money hungry, you're thinking short term, and this company's like, hey, we'll pay you this amount of money, or we'll give you this amount of equity if we can use your audience and promote to your audience. That's no bueno. Now, the best case scenario, the best way to do this is to partner with a company that you have similar values, your missions align, and then you sincerely believe in their product or service. And then you know your audience very well. You know what your audience's journey is, where they're going, and you know whether or not this product or service really helps them get further on that journey. That's the ideal situation. If you really care about your audience, they trust you, and you want to maintain that relationship, then you need to make sure that this product or service that you're working with helps get them to the next step on their journey. Now remember, this is a long-term game. Things compound. You really don't want to burn people for a quick buck. And this is why, like I said earlier, it's really important to know your why. It's really important to know why you want to do what you do. And that will only determine what kind of audience you attract, but it also will determine which companies you will work with and which people who are running those companies you can even work with. Meaning that, like, you could find a company that has a really good product and service that you truly stand by, but maybe the people who are running the company, maybe you guys just don't hit it off. Okay, so this is the exact path to build significant wealth in 2025. Now, that path is to attempt to build a business from zero while documenting the entire journey here on YouTube and social media. Now, the best case scenario is that you built a business, so you're making decent money, but it also opened you up to a whole network of people that also work in your field, and you also grew a loyal audience here on YouTube that trusts you, that you could also leverage to partner with other businesses. Worst case scenario, you failed at building a business, but now you have a lot of experience from that failure, and you also have the audience that you built while failing at this business. So now you have a built-in audience, built-in distribution for your next venture that you want to try. Other than that, there's so many other opportunities with having an audience that you built. You have all these opportunities for working with people that you never knew you would meet before. There's just a wealth of opportunities underneath having an audience. But let's look at my exact plan step by step. So first, this is a high-level overview. I'm going to be bootstrapping a business and showing every single step I took to make it successful. This will be in the form of YouTube videos showing you behind the scenes and all of the systems that I use and implement to make this business venture successful. In time, I will have a large enough network and audience to start working with more established companies whose missions align with mine and also get equity in those companies. Okay, now here's the quick step-by-step breakdown. My first step was to determine the best path, and that is building an online personal brand while also building a business that is quick to generate revenue. So what I did was I used an AI agent. Specifically, I used this AI agent called Manus. The link to that AI tool is down in this description. I have no affiliation whatsoever. I don't get paid or anything, but it is a really cool new LLM tool, AI tool that can help you save a lot of time. So if you want to do that and figure out what's best for you, you could go and do that and then follow along with this video. But what I did was that I gave it this prompt to tell me what I should do based on my background and my experiences. And so this was the prompt that I gave it. Now, after it digested that prompt and did all of the work behind the scenes, it then spit out a comprehensive report of all the steps I should take and even which service I should offer. Now, I did do a lot of tweaking to the prompt and followed it up with several detailed questions, but in short, it said my best option is to provide Google Business Profile Optimization services to local businesses in my area. Now, this is because I said I need to make at least $5,000 a month to cover bills and expenses. It then said I should use building this business as a main content pillar to grow my personal brand online. It said that I should be planning for pivoting in the future to create a productized service business model where I'd be working with more sophisticated businesses on LinkedIn, where that would be where I'd get most of my leads and business from. It said then as I get more clients and I start to build up my client base, I could use that as an opportunity to work with some of those clients or find companies that align with me and then try to strike a deal where I have partial ownership, equity, or maybe in the future even get on the boards of those businesses. Now, this is all in addition to networking and collaborating with other content creators here on YouTube. So either way, here I am at the beginning of this entire process. I am documenting everything. I'm going to show every step. And so my first goal and my first step is to get my first 3 clients. And that means I have to go walk in and do sales. Straight in, I'm going to go into the businesses and I'm going to be pitching them these services. And before I forget, I'm going to be using this Notion database. It's called the Business Launchpad. I created it. It's a template. It's going to be down in the description. You could duplicate it, create your own Notion account. It's all free. And this is the exact thing that I'm going to use to be organized to make this business successful. So if you want to join me on this journey, maybe you want to do the same Google profile business optimization service that I'm doing, or maybe you want to go use Manus and figure out a better service to offer that's good for you. But either way, you can follow me on this journey. The same thing. We could do it step by step together. Start from zero, go to $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, and beyond. Okay, now that's that for this video. My next video, you're going to want to stick around because I'm going to be showing you what it's like to go in selling in person, the entire process, all of the behind the scenes stuff, and then also some of the tools and some of the other things that pertain to business and everything. Things that I believe will be helpful to you on this journey. But either way, thank you for sticking around. I look forward to seeing you in the comments and hit the subscribe button. Okay, bye.